Okay, hello Cloud Gurus and welcome to this lecture. This is the last lecture in the EC2 section of the course and it's on Lambda. And actually we leave it right to the end because Lambda is so advanced it is probably going to replace EC2. Certainly a lot of people are starting to move their workloads from EC2 to Lambda. And here at A Cloud Guru we don't actually use any EC2 instances whatsoever to host our school. Our school actually runs all on Lambda functions and we'll come to that a bit later on in this lecture. So what actually is Lambda? Well, basically Lambda is a compute service where you can upload your code and create a Lambda function. AWS Lambda then takes care of provisioning and managing the servers that you use to run the code. You don't have to worry about things like operating systems or patching or how to scale. Basically, you just upload your code to Lambda and Lambda takes care of the rest. And you can use Lambda in the following ways. So you can use it as an event-driven compute service. This is basically where AWS Lambda runs your code in response to events. So let's look at a practical example. I could create a web application whereby my users upload a photo to my web application, and this is stored in an S3 bucket. Now, as soon as that photo is finished uploading to S3, this could trigger a Lambda function, and basically a Lambda function would go in and turn my photo into a thumbnail. So you can use Lambda to do all kinds of things, not just thumbnail generation, but you can do it, use it to transcode videos, for example, or you can use it to process logs. There's a whole bunch of different functionalities you can use Lambda for, and that's basically event-driven compute service. You can also use Lambda as a compute service to run your code in response to HTTP requests using the Amazon API gateway or API calls made using the AWS SDKs, and that's exactly what we use at A Cloud Guru. We don't use EC2 instances. Every time you visit a web page on A Cloud Guru, you are actually interacting with Lambda. Lambda is responding to your laptop, to your mobile devices, etc. And if you actually go to read.acloud.guru and go through our blog, you'll see a blog post from, I think it was in around October, where we wrote out how we use Lambda and how we have developed our school. And it's completely serverless. So we use an entire serverless architecture. So we have AngularJS apps running in the browser across all devices, so across your iPhones, your iPads, your laptops, etc. And these then communicate through the AWS API gateway into Lambda functions, and basically it's Lambda functions that are responding to your devices as and when you access our content. So it's really fascinating. We actually use Lambda a lot. Also, every time I record a new video, I upload it to an S3 bucket, and Lambda goes in and starts transcoding that video for me, and it transcodes it to all different types of devices. So that's how you are able to view the videos on your iPhone, on your iPad, on your Android devices, as well as on your laptops. It transcodes the video to fit the default resolutions for those devices. So we think Lambda is absolutely amazing. So in terms of what Lambda actually is, if you think of traditionally in terms of your IT infrastructure, you've got data centers. That's the first thing. Then you've actually got the racks and the hardware. So you've got your individual servers, you've got all your networking gear, you've got your SANs, you've got your physical firewalls, you've got your load balancers. That all goes into your racks. You've then got your assembly code and protocols. So these are your things like your machine code, your TCP, IP, etc. You've then got your higher level languages. So these are things that basically write your operating systems. You've then got the operating systems themselves. So you've got Windows, you've got Linux, etc. You then have the actual application layer, and the application layer can consist of your applications themselves, or it could be the command line tools that you use to call AWS APIs. And then on top of all this, you've got Lambda, and basically Lambda encapsulates all of this, except you no longer have to worry about anything above the Lambda stack. So all you have to worry about is your code. AWS take care of everything else. In terms of the languages that are available for Lambda, you've got Node.js, you've got Java, and you've got Python. Now, these languages are as of January 2016. I would not be surprised if more supported languages were added to Lambda. So how is Lambda priced? Well, the great thing about Lambda is it's priced in two different ways. It's the number of requests, and you get the first 1 million requests are free, and then you're paying 20 cents per next million requests thereafter. So if you break it down on a request basis, it's really, really cheap. And then the next thing is duration. You're actually only paying for the duration in which your code is running. So duration is calculated from the time your code begins executing until it returns or otherwise terminates, rounded up to the nearest 100 milliseconds. Now, the price depends on the amount of memory you allocate to your function, and you're charged that number, I'm not even going to try and read it out, for every gigabyte second used. Now, the great thing again about Lambda is you're only paying for the code as it executes. You're not having to worry about having an EC2 instance running in the background that's just waiting for a request to come through. And 99% of the time, perhaps, it's not doing anything. And that's a bit of an exaggeration, but Lambda's so fantastic because you are just paying for the code as it executes. And that's one of the reasons why A Cloud Guru can be so cheap. We have built our entire school on Lambda functions. And for that reason, our costs are very, very low. We don't have to worry about dedicated EC2 instances or reserved EC2 instances. We don't have to, worry about our hourly billing. We are just paying for the execution time, and it makes it a lot cheaper than if we were to run our own EC2 farm behind auto-scaling groups. So why is Lambda cool? You can tell that I'm really keen on Lambda. Well, no servers. You don't have to worry about patching and maintaining servers. You don't have to worry about security vulnerabilities, in Apache or in IIS. You can get rid of all that. It also continuously scales. So again, you don't have to worry about auto-scaling groups and minimum numbers of instances and maximum number of instances, etc. Lambda automatically scales to meet the demand on it. And then it's super, super, super cheap. So it's a lot cheaper to run Lambda functions than it is to worry about things like, always having EC2 instances that are on that might not necessarily be doing anything. So that's it for this lecture, guys. Lambda came out in 2014 at reInvent 2014, and I have not yet seen it or heard of it being in the exams. That being said, it's still really important to understand what it is, and I wouldn't be surprised if it makes its way heavily into the exams in 2016. But at this stage, to my knowledge, it's not in there. So if you do see it in your exam, please let me know immediately and give me some kind of idea as to what kind of questions that are being asked, so I can update this course with the relevant content. Now, just one other thing, we do have an entire course on Lambda, and we show you how to use it. So it's not something that we can do in the Solutions Architect course because we try and make this very certification focused. But if you want to go on and learn Lambda, go and check out our Lambda course. Okay, that's it. If you have any questions, please let me know. If not, feel free to move on to the next section. Thank you.